We are live.
Okay, thank you, Mike and LTV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for March 9th, 2021. This evening, we have a work session and quite a full agenda, so we'll get going right away. We'll start off with some administrative applications. The first is Giordano at 20 Marine Boulevard, Narragansett, tax map number 300-179-2-5. And this is to expand an existing roof deck, replace in place and kind an existing pool deck, and to allow 237 square feet of decking constructed without an NRSP to remain on a parcel containing beach vegetation. And Eleni's going to walk us through this. Good evening, Eleni.
Evening. So I brought the survey up here on the screen. So it's pretty much they're replacing this pool deck. They are legalizing this small section of deck here. They're proposing to expand this roof deck over here. And then they're also going to be removing some structures that were constructed without permits. So there's a bocce ball court here, rubber playing court here. That's all going to be removed. Pretty much, it's pretty well vegetated. Other than that, on this side, this will be revegetated. Pretty much it.
Thanks, Eleni. I spoke with Eleni earlier, and again, the revegetation is over the rubber court and the beach bocce court, correct, Eleni?
Yes, yeah, it's all dune land, so that will be vegetated with dune land species.
Right. This is in my Amagansett district. I'm fine with this. Board members, any comments, questions, comments on this?
No, I'm fine with it.
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion then with regard to Giordano at 20 Marine Boulevard, Amagansett, tax map number 300-179-2-5, that this go forward administratively.
Second.
Second.
I'll concur.
I concur.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on next. Eleni will walk us through this one as well. The applicant here for this administrative application is Kevin Casey at 32 Jacqueline Drive in Amagansett, tax map number 300-176-5-5, to allow an existing 89 square foot of decking and a shed to remain on a parcel within 150 feet of freshwater wetlands and containing dune land and beach vegetation.
Okay, so this is the survey here. So basically, they had approvals for when this was constructed a long time ago. The deck kind of was cut off like this. They've squared it out. So they're looking to allow that portion to remain, as well as the shed that was not on the CO. It is fully vegetated right up to the deck. It's all dune land here, and they're more than 100, they're just over 100 feet from the wetlands, which are up over here.
Okay, thank you, Eleni. Again, this is in my district in Amagansett. I'm fine with this going forward administratively. Board members?
I'm fine with it.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, with regard to Kevin Casey at 32 Jacqueline Drive, Amagansett, tax map number 300-176-5-5, I make a motion that this move forward administratively.
Second.
Second. Oh, concur.
I'll concur.
I concur.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Dana Arikian and Jason Spencer at 21 Fenwick Road in Montauk, tax map number 300-19-8-22.2, to construct approximately 1,550 square feet of first and second story additions with a 976 square foot attached garage, 1,100 square feet of first and second story decking, a 648 square foot swimming pool within jurisdiction of freshwater wetlands. And this is in Montauk. Tyler is going to walk us through this, if you would, please, Tyler.
Yeah,
Good evening,
absolutely.
Tyler.
Absolutely. Good evening. I'm just now noticing that for some reason, the digital copy doesn't have topography. So I'll just explain it on what the physical copy looks like. This lot is fairly flat in the area where the residence is and where the proposed additions are. There's an existing residence here, not a large residence. They're expanding out to the northeast here. It's going to be a garage on the first story with a little connecting like hallway, and then an addition above, with a small addition on this side of the house to sort of expand out those existing rooms. Swimming pool and decking, small amount of decking on that side to gain access out of the house, essentially. They are also upgrading the sanitary system over here, which is completely out of jurisdiction, as well as a shed, which is out of jurisdiction. The 150-foot line sort of bisects the house. So most of the project is within jurisdiction. They're going to clear a little bit on the backside of the lot, but they're going to be retaining all of this right here, which is all vegetated. They're also going to be they also agreed to a scenic easement across 50 feet of the rear of this lot, which is the vast majority of it, in order to preserve that in perpetuity. There is a little section of this, the neighbor's driveway that comes through. Let me pull up the aerial. So you can see the neighbor's driveway sort of comes through and it has always come through their property. So we're going to obviously have to allow that in the easement. But other than that, all this vegetation back here is going to exist. This is steeply sloped back here as well. So it's super important to preserve that woodland back there, to protect the wetlands back in this like access right of way or paper road, I guess it would be, where the wetlands are. But other than that, it's a sizable addition, but nothing completely out of context, out of character with the neighborhood, and they are okay with the easement to sort of make up for the size of the addition in order to protect those slopes.
I drove by there today, Tyler, and it did look like it grades up quite a bit from that corner there where the IA system's going.
Right. Yeah.
You think that pool is okay in that location as far as runoff and flooding? And
yeah, it slopes up. Right here is where it like plateaus on the property, and the plateau doesn't end until back here somewhere. All right here is essentially the flattest part of the lot. Yeah, it almost doesn't change at all up there. It's essentially the 80-foot ring that goes around this whole part here, and then it slopes off steeply down here, and then slight slopes down this way, not as steeply. So yeah, I'm not too concerned with any runoff issues. Leaders and gutters obviously will be included.
okay, I'm okay with it. Edward?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I did not visit the site, but I heard what Tyler has to say. I'm okay with this.
Same here.
Damien,
Same here. Thank you, Tyler. And Terry, you want to make a motion?
Sure. So for the application of Dana Arikian and Jason Spencer, 21 Fenwick Road in Montauk, tax map 300-019-08-22.2, make a motion to allow this application to be processed administratively.
I'll second.
I concur.
And I concur. Thanks, Tyler. Again, thank you, Terry, and thank you, Eleni, for your work on those. Okay, we'll move on next to post-hearing decisions. The first we have this evening is Camille Noratil and Pa Her at 18 South Fisk Street in Montauk, tax map number 300-28-7-22.1. And I'll read this in. We have a lot size here of 40,665 square feet total at 18 South Fisk Street, Country Club Estate, map number 5152, Montauk, tax map number 300-28-7-22.1. Description: to construct a 1,445 square feet of first and second story decking, including a 24 square foot outdoor shower on a parcel of land, on a parcel containing freshwater wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-420 and one variance from wetland setbacks. One variance of 72.3 feet to construct the deck, 27.7 feet from the wetland where 100 feet is required, and any other relief necessary from East Hampton Town Code. This is a B resident zone zoning district. The flood zone is X and the secret class is type 2. And let's see, I apologize. Was this Ed's maybe?
Yeah,
Ed?
this is Ed.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed. If you would lead us off, please.
Yeah, thank you. The hearing for this application was on December 15th, 2020. The most current survey is from February 5th, 2020. That survey is important in some of the decision-making that's going to be made on this and some of the limitations there. The C of O was issued for this residence August 5th, 1993. The current owner took possession of the property in December 2019 and should have been apprised of the environmental constraints that have been placed on the property, I think. The board will remember that this property is surrounded by wetlands adjacent to and included in wetlands that on the south, the east, the north, and with wetlands across South Fifth Street to the west. Additionally, there is an extensive scenic easement covering the wetlands on this property that was filed in 1991 as part of a ZBA determination for the construction of the residence. The field inspection at the time showed that several small portions of that easement had been cleared prior to the current ownership, and that the applicant has been in touch with the planning department subsequently in connection with their desire to revegetate those affected areas. The field inspection also noted the recent installation of an air conditioning unit set in a location that would require a variance if left where it is. The applicant again is in conversation with the planning department and has agreed to move it back to a conforming location. The request for a first and second floor deck and an outdoor shower, while not necessarily excessive in scope, this particular request is, however, problematic given the previously issued constraints attached to this property, I think. In the January 9, 1990 ruling under findings and determinations, item 10A, the town of East Hampton ZBA stated that all structures on this heavily constrained property should be at least 35 feet from all wetlands. Currently, even after an effort was made by the applicant to move the extreme southeast corner of the proposed deck at least 35 feet from the wetland, a large portion still remains at two surveyed points, 27.7 and 28.9 from the wetland. It is also important to note that even if a proposed deck to be shifted northward to allow it to clear the ZBA mandated 35-foot setback, that any new structure would still be looking to gain approval for a large variance from the 100-foot setback required normally from the wetlands. Because this property is so constrained and there is not much that can be offered for mitigation, and that replanting the cleared areas within the scenic easement would be required separate of this application and cannot be applied to that kind of mitigation, that type of mitigation. So although I feel that the applicant has acted in good faith in making this application and they expressed a willingness to work with the planning department in finding methods of remediation, I don't believe that, excuse me, I don't believe that this application rises to the level of being approved for the issuance of an NRSP under Town Code 255-5-51. I'm therefore looking to deny this application.
Okay, thank you, Ed, for that thorough analysis. Terry, you want to comment next on this one?
Yeah. Well, I had the same concerns. It was good that they moved from the 31A into the 35 on that southeast part of the property. But again, there was a lot of going to the back of the house where they want the deck going from the south to the north. There was no way that that 35 feet, it would bring them almost to the structure itself. And no matter which side, this property has so many wetlands that I too am going to deny this application. I can't see how they could possibly fit it. I don't even know on the southeast side if there's something that could be done, but this is just too much development for this terribly restrained property, including the stairs, the second floor deck that they have no access to, and they did say they would not do anything in the future, but I just can't get myself to approve this. So I too am going to deny it.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Roy?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I look to as has been mentioned already by member Ed is the fact that the 1989 determination was clear in the fact that no structure should be closer than 35 feet to the wetlands, having to do with this is a very constrained property. The concern that I have is that the property also exhibited some overclearing, and I think that we should require them to bring the clearing into conformity with the 1989 decision. I'm not sure if they came up with adequate mitigation to support the granting of this NRSP and this variance for this property. And I don't know if Ed or Terry, if you've seen that, but I don't think I've seen it as well. So I would think I would support the denial.
Okay. Thank you, Roy. Tim?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I went back and rewatched the hearing yesterday, and the applicants represented themselves during the hearing. Didn't have, I don't think, full command of the requests that they were making. I came away from both meetings with the idea that they not only were willing to adjust the plan, but they would submit something to us that would detail what they were willing to do, which I don't believe ever happened. At least I never saw anything in writing. So that combined with what's already been said, I do want to correct Member Dalene's, the determination's actually 1991.
Sorry.
So just happy to correct Member Dalene on anything. But
Thank you.
For the same reasons given, I think this is a lot of development. There's wetlands all over surrounding this property. I think it calls for a very thoughtful plan. In this case, we're dealing with NRSP standards that specifically call out whether or not structures can be put in more conforming locations and be made smaller. In this case, I'm convinced that they could make this smaller and still accomplish what they were looking to do. And so that combined with the prior determination, I'm looking to deny this as well.
Okay,
Chair,
thank
can I interject at this time just to be a pain in the neck? I started trying to get verification of any changes to the asks. I think the board, we've discussed this in the past, that it's sometimes not clear as to, after a public hearing, what their current request is.
Mm-hmm.
So the chair is aware of this, that I'm sending out, not to be part of the record, and if it's not supported what's in the record, but their understanding of what they were presenting at the public hearing. And I asked this of agents as well as from self-represented individuals. And what I provide to them is what they were originally, the original application was, and ask them to update it if they think it's different. And if you don't mind me sharing, this is the response that I got from them, which may be how they felt that they were responding to providing that, or what they believed that they had agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
They think that the amount of the decking has been reduced from 1,445 square feet down to 1,300 square feet, although it's still first and second story decking. They also include the 24 square foot outdoor shower. The revised decking is requesting variances to allow the construction of a deck within 35 feet from the wetlands requirement, and that a drywall will be installed at the outdoor shower area. I don't know if plans, I did not go through, I don't have access to the entire record, so I didn't know if they had provided additional information to show how that would be, but I believe that that's what they were trying to stay within the 1991 ZBA determination, which, as you've stated, all structures maintain a minimum setback from the wetlands of 35 feet as shown. So I believe they're only asking for a variance so that to allow them to comply with the 1991 determination. As far as the mitigation, the only mitigation they do talk about is revegetating what they're already required to revegetate for the overclearing.
You got that response in an email or?
I did get it. I did get it not only in an email. I have it actually on a form, which I can email to all of you. It's a verification of application form, which is signed by her, the applicant. I send these after the record closes so that it's not a back and forth, that they don't think they can negotiate it with me, but it's their understanding of what they believe they stated at the hearing as to what they agreed to.
I just want to jump in and say that I have what they submitted up on the screen here. So this is where they cut the deck back to 35 feet over here.
On that side, right, and
Just on this side.
that's the only thing I saw that they submitted, right?
They also submitted a revegetation plan for within the scenic easement, the areas that are cleared within the scenic easement. And I can bring that up as well.
Eleni,
So-
Eleni, what are we looking at? What are we looking at? Are those for runoff in the cylinders? They look like leaching pools or
The
something?
circles, that's
What are
their
those?
re-veg.
Yeah, this is plantings.
Oh, that's planting. Oh, I thought it was like
Yeah.
leaching pools or something.
No,
I
it's
mean,
planting and the circles on the other side of planting. So that's the only updated document I saw from the time of the hearing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't address anything on the other side, the whole length south to north.
But just so I have clarification, Eleni, that area is the one that is where the variance is requested for, correct?
There
So-
are variances requested here as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
This line here, and that's actually closer.
okay, that's what I was checking. Okay, so that the one variance that is requested of 65 feet, did that change at all from the original?
No, that shouldn't change from the original because they haven't changed this area.
Okay,
So the original ask, it was 31 feet to this corner. And it
Yep.
was discussed at the meeting, possibly pulling that back. But over here is
That
where
didn't-
it's closer to the wetlands. So then pulling this back doesn't change the requested variance.
so they may have reduced the amount of the decking, but the variance that they're requesting remains.
It's the same.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we have all, so
Yeah.
that it's clear. I don't think it changes anything that any of you have said. I just wanted to make sure that there is not a misinformation, and that's why I'm not trying to complicate things by
Sure.
asking for
Yeah.
more information.
No, I appreciate that, Nancy Lynn. I think it's wise that you do that so that when you're writing the determination, you make sure, because it's, sometimes there's negotiations that sort of happen at the public hearing. So I think it's wise that you're doing that. As you said, that is off the record. These updates were submitted Eleni, in the time period when the written record was open. Is that correct?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Anyway, since I am the last one who has not spoken, nonetheless, I will say that I agree with my fellow board members exactly what they all said. So I will not repeat all of those comments. It's just that I agree at this point that I'm in favor of denying this application. Nancy Lynn, are you all good with all that?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure, and I apologize, I jumped ahead of you, Chair.
No, don't worry. And I appreciate your input. Thank you. We all do. Okay. We'll move on next. We have Francis Hauser at 29 South Ferncroft Place, Montauk tax map number 300-28-3-48. And the lot size here is 17,924.6 square feet at 29 South Ferncroft, south portion of Westlake Residential Section, map number 1016, lot 2, Montauk, tax map number 300-28-3-48. The description: to construct a 102 square foot first-story addition, 480 square foot second-story addition, 196 square feet of decking, a bay window, and an upgraded sanitary system on a parcel of land containing freshwater wetlands. The relief sought 2 variances and a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-4-20 of the East Hampton Town Code are required for this application. Variances of 13.6 feet and 11.3 feet from 255-4-30 of the Town Code are required to construct the proposed additions 86.4 feet and decking 88.7 feet from freshwater wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required and any other relief necessary. This is a B residence zone, flood zone is X, secret class is type 2. And here we are in Montauk again. Let's see, Terry, was this you?
Yeah, this was Terry. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry.
Okay, this is for Francis Hauser at 29 South Ferncroft Place. The survey that I'm looking at is dated December 9th, 2020. We received it December 9th. It was, okay, yes. And this was, the change had been to add to the buffer to the wetlands that the applicant was proposing as a result of the TAM. Okay, this is for an NRSP and 2 variances from wetlands that are on the southeast portion of the property in the corner. I don't know, Tyler, if you could point to it. There's a variance of 13.6 and 11.3 for this little bump out addition, which is one of the additions there, and the steps adjacent to that. The bump out was for a mudroom to be added. Additionally, this application is for a second floor addition to be added, and a small patio deck in the, not deck, the bay window in the living room, and another first floor deck. The variances are only on the southeast portion of the property. Not the entire property, but this portion is in NRSP jurisdiction. The applicants are offered also a low nitrogen IA system on this project, and the additional buffer that had been added, which constitutes, I believe it was 2,300 feet of buffer, which would, if you see in the clearing on the survey, they're over cleared a bit now, but they're proposing to bring the over clearing down from 17,400 square feet to 15,573 square feet. Just as a note, now I am in favor of this application. I do think it's the minimum variance is required. I think the benefit to the applicant outweighs any detriment to the town. I do want to bring out, there were 2 discussions on the southwest side of the house. There was the next door neighbor did call in opposition to the project. A lot of that was based on noise, and also a portion of the project, I guess part of a different project, not in jurisdiction for this ZBA board, of 3 feet on that portion for a little movement in the kitchen. So that was not part of the application that is in front of the zoning board. There was another neighbor, after the fact, we got a letter, another neighbor in opposition behind on the total south side, on the other side where all the circles are with the vegetation there. On the opposite side of that, in the back of the applicant's house, is where that other neighbor was from also, but complaining in opposition because of noise, which also is not in jurisdiction. I just wanted to point that out. However, all the things within jurisdiction, I do feel meets the variance standards. It's the minimum variance necessary. It's not a large variance. And the buffer and the IA system, I feel, is adequate mitigation for this project. So I am looking to approve it.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Ed?
Yes, I'm in agreement with Member Berger. I have a couple of comments, though. I think that the planning department did recommend increasing the amount of re-veg that was offered. I don't think they responded to that, as far as I know, and I think that was a good recommendation, because I think it did help with water runoff down to that. This property, when you visit it from the house down to the wetland that's along South Burncroft, is a steady decline. And so water runoff could be helped. There might be some possibility to mitigate that if we add a little more in terms of vegetation. However, given what how the property is situated, the character of the neighborhood, its relationship to its neighbors, and the rather minor amount of work that they're looking to do to improve the parcel, I think that this falls within my sense of what's important for us to consider in terms of an approval. I do want to comment about the sound. as well. I realize those two letters came in. I did not think at that site, the conditions that they would create here would be any different than any of the other neighbors have from a similar setback. So I'm looking to approve this for many of the same reasons that were put forth by Member Berger. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, if I could interject.
Sure, go ahead, Nancy Lynn.
One of the items that I do on this verification thing is whether or not they accept the conditions outlined in the planning department's technical analysis memo, and it is checked yes.
Yes, they did.
So if that's part of the, if the planning department recommended increased revegetation as one of the conditions, then they have accepted that.
Oh, well, that's good.
I have a question on that. They in the TAM, it did ask for further revegetation, and I thought they accommodated that, increasing the buffer to this 30 feet.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what that survey, that last survey we got, the revised, it was for the revised revegetation. I don't recall that there was further revegetation requested by the planning department at the hearing. But they did agree to all the conditions of the approval in the TAM.
So I think you're both correct. So that's what we have then. We have that final survey where they offered that re-veg, correct?
They offered an additional buffer. Yeah, they offered
right.
up to 30-foot buffer.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you, Terry and Nancy Lynn. Let's see, who are we up to? Tim, you want to take a pass at this?
Sure. And I'm in agreement with my fellow board members on this. And for the same reasons that were cited, I would note that the size of this house currently is only 880 square feet, and that the finished size would still only be 1,470 square feet. So we're talking about a very modest structure. The two variances, I think, are also modest. And from a mitigation standpoint, I think the new septic system, as well as the commitment that's been agreed upon for clearing for revegetation in an area that protects the wetlands, that the overall project is a net positive to the environment. And as a result of that, I'm looking to also approve this application.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Roy?
Yes, I agree also, Mr. Chairman, and a particular note that would like to make is this particular property has not been before ZBA before. It has pre-existed and has not come before the ZBA. I do have a note that the re-veg was going to be about 2,300 feet, but I agree with that if they've agreed to the conditions, that would suffice. I've also note that I'd like to add to this application. This goes in regards to the noise complaints that came about. Was that the design particularly took into account also the pyramid laws too. So they did not pierce that. I think the design, everything is modest, as Member Brenneman has also stated.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Once again, I completely agree with everything you all said, so I won't repeat it. But thank you all, and I too am in favor of approving this application. Nancy Lynn, we good with all that?
Yep, I have what I need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we'll move on to 32 Store Island Associates LLC at 32 Store Island Road in Montauk, tax map number 300-6-4-9 and 16.1. And this is 189,059 square feet, this parcel, the lot size. Again, that same address. And the description is to demolish an existing 1,373 square foot porte cochere, swimming pool, pool fencing, and brick patio, and to construct a new 1,260 square foot swimming pool, 3,132 square foot slate patio, pool fencing, a 212 square foot bathroom, and pool equipment addition. approximately 410 square feet, ADA bathroom and showfish entry, walkways, and a transformer and switchgear with fence enclosure within setbacks and jurisdiction of tidal wetlands. The relief sought is an NRSP pursuant to 255-4-20 of the Town Code, and 5 variances are required for this application. Variances of 90.7 feet, 90.7 feet, 89.4 feet, 83 feet, 80.3 feet, and 5 feet from 255-4-30 of the Town Code are required to construct the swimming pool patio, 9.3 feet, pool fencing 9.3 feet, bathroom and pool equipment addition 10.6 feet, relocated a bathroom and pardon me, I'm getting my lines here. Relocated transformer and switchgear 17 feet. Construct the new swimming pool 19.7 feet and the ADA bathroom and showfish entry addition 95 feet from tidal wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required and any other relief necessary. This is an RS resort zone and the flood zone is X and the secret class is type 2. And let's see, Terry, was this you as well?
No.
No, Ed, sorry, Ed. Thanks, Ed. Go ahead, please. Ed, if you'd start us off, please.
Yes, thank you. You'll remember that the hearing date for this application was December 15th, 2020. The 5 variances are required as were listed by Chairman Whelan. We're asked to consider 4 different parts of this application: the installation of a switchgear and transformer, the construction of a new enclosure that will house both bathrooms and pool equipment, the construction of an ADA bathroom at the showfish entry, and the replacement of existing 20 by 40 pool with a new one, 18 by 70 feet. The most recent survey that we have for this parcel is October 15th, 2019. It's important to note that this site sits on the west shore of Lake Montauk and has been developed for approximately the last 90 years, beginning in the Carl Fisher era, continuing through to the present day. So when you visit the site, it obviously has been worked and reworked over the years continually as buildings have been adapted to the current needs of the owners at the time. The pool to be replaced was constructed in 1975, and regular improvements have been made on the site over the years, as I've said. There are extensive dock slips extending into the lake, and the site is a popular tourist attraction. So this is a spot that's heavily traveled, used by the public, and everything that is done along the edge of the lake presents a potential problem or danger to the environment if not properly regulated. The entire site covered by the yacht club is bordered by Lake Montauk, and the proposed locations for the switchgear and transformer, the relocated bathrooms, and the swimming pool modification are all critically close to the lake, and construction in these areas will require visual attention by the applicant and their agents. This application is to be approved. The switchgear and transformer already installed on the northern parking lot alongside other existing equipment. The fence site seems appropriate to me, given that the additional equipment is already set within the enclosure, which sits at the eastern edge of the paved parking. The new bathrooms that are to replace the ones demolished that sat immediately at the water's edge. These bathrooms are to be set on a site to the north of the pool in an area that already has a deck built in that place. This enclosure will also house the necessary pool equipment. At the hearing, questions were raised by the board concerning the location of the septic system that would service these bathrooms, and the amount of space and provided for the pool equipment inside the structure. The existing septic system that is now in place is set in the adjacent west parking lot and will service these baths as it did the baths that were demolished that sat closer to the water. And the applicant's agent felt confident that enough space had been allowed for pool equipment, which was a concern of mine. The proposed pool portion of this project occupied most of that time that we devoted to the public hearing. You remember that the applicant proposed to replace the existing 20 by 40 pool that had a maximum depth of 9 feet with an 18-foot by 70-foot pool with a maximum depth of 4 feet. An important part of the proposal plan called for leaving most of the existing pool in place and building new pool over and beyond it to the south. And in doing so, it would enable them to decrease the amount of disturbance in that area that might occur if the entire pool had been removed. The applicant pointed out the resulting new pool will now sit at least 2 feet above existing groundwater, where previously the pool sat down well into groundwater. Additionally, 3,132 square feet of slate patio is proposed to replace the brick patio now in place. A few critical portions of the applicant's proposed construction protocol are worth mentioning. On sheet A100 submitted to the ZBA on February 2nd, the Suno architecture shows the location of the silt fence and hay bale barrier will be constructed completely enclosing the south and east sides of the construction area. It also shows the location of a water containment floating boom that is to encircle a larger but similar area. This floating boom is not mentioned, however, in the construction protocol, although it was clearly marked on the drawings that we did receive on February 2nd. And that same construction protocol report for pool modifications also received February 2nd under item 1.5.1 natural drainage area. It states that surface runoff water will be contained and captured and that no runoff water will be conveyed into the lake. A particularly important condition, I think, during the construction of the pool, knowing that that kind of care is to be taken while excavation is taking place and other disturbances, including the removal of the patio and the construction of a new patio. The construction protocols have been submitted to the board are extensive and comprehensive, and given the sensitivity of the surrounding environment, we should expect that they would be adhered to conscientiously. Lastly, before the December 15th meeting, we were asked to consider a 5-foot variance request concerning the applicant's desire to construct an ADA bathroom at the Showfish entry on the west side of the building. Before the hearing, however, the applicant withdrew the request for a ruling concerning that variance, and as a result, any considerations that this board may have had about it were not discussed at the public hearing. In a letter addressed to this board in a letter addressed to the board dated February 1st, 2 weeks after the hearing, the applicant renewed their request to seek the variance to build the ADA bathroom at the Showfish entry, while clarifying that the square area of the proposed addition would actually be 100 square feet and not the previously listed 451 square feet. I consulted with Nancy Lynn on this, and she assured me that we can rule on this portion of the renewed request if we choose to do so, because information concerning the addition required at the Showfish entry was included in our information packets that accompanied the application. While I have an opinion about this portion of the request, I'd like to hear from my fellow board members as to their reaction to being asked to rule about this item without it being subject to an open public discussion. Relative to the rest of the application as it relates to the issuance of an NRSP and is compliant with the Town of East Hampton Code 255-5-5051, I feel that given the current and long-term condition of the property, and if the proper construction protocols are followed, that no natural feature or system will be degraded, polluted, or diminished by the work that is proposed in this application. And that relative to Town of East Hampton Code 255-5-40, that the proposed work in this case is compatible with existing conditions at this site, and that the submitted construction protocols, if properly adhered to, should allow for completion of the project without causing undue environmental disturbance or disruption. I would add, however, that any work being done in juxtaposition to an area environmentally as sensitive as that of Lake Montauk should be attempted only if the applicant adheres fastidiously to their own offered construction protocols, and that any significant variation from those standards that caused or resulted in unapproved environmental damage will be cause for an interruption in the progress of the project. So that said, I'm willing to move forward with approving the installation of the switchgear and transformer in their current locations and with the construction of the new bathrooms at their proposed location. Additionally, I'm leaning towards approving the construction of the pool and its associated slate patio while noting my previously stated concerns. I would like, however, Mr. Chairman, to withhold my decision concerning the proposed construction of the ADA bathroom at the Showfish entry location until after hearing from my fellow board members. I think that this entire project is a large and sensitive one. I think that we know that the site has been developed continually over the last 90 years. And I think that what is being asked for has been proposed in a reasonable and carefully thought out fashion. I think that an effort's been made by the applicant to follow the best as he can see with the guidelines that might come his way. I'm in favor of this application, although I must say, as I've stated in what I've just read, is that I'm concerned that protocols are followed precisely because we're asking for they're asking for very, very large variances We're only 9 or 10 feet from the water at the pool side, and the entire project is potentially dangerous and environmentally damaging. However, all that being said and reiterated more than once by me, I'm willing to approve the three portions of the project that I've already stated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ed. A very complex application, and you certainly rose to the occasion, and I commend you for that thorough analysis. It's very helpful, and it's just great to have that on the record as well, obviously, so thank you. Terry, you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, not much more to say on that. I'm in agreement with Ed on approving those variances. Now, it was 5 variances, right? So the only additional comments I might make is one thing with the size of the pool changing, with the depth. They tried to keep the volume of water that the pool contains the same as the current one. They're not it's a non-conforming location and non-conforming project, but they're not increasing any non-conformity. If that's sort of a good thing. And on the pool itself, while it's a huge variance, the current pool is at a 15-foot away from the wetlands, and the new pool, when they're done, will be 19.7. So it's a very slight improvement in that. As far as the ADA bathroom, it's a 5-foot variance. It's not a lot. I don't know. My opinion is we could go ahead and discuss it, since it is just a 5-foot variance, 100 square feet. It was originally noticed in the public notice for the original hearing. So I am okay if this board wanted to talk about it or rule on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Terry. Tim?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I also want to say how much I appreciate Member Johann's thorough analysis. I couldn't begin to replicate that, but very much appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into it. And I think I agree with him on virtually every point. I think Member Johann introduced this at the hearing with a comment about this facility has existed for something like 90 years and has been developed and overdeveloped, quite frankly. And so it's a very unique property and a very unique application. There's a lot going on here. It's complicated, but in the end, I came to the same conclusion. And as for the 100 square foot ADA bathroom, it was noticed as 410 square feet, and it's actually only 100 square feet. I think all things considered, that's one of the least impactful changes that we're looking at in this application. And as a result of that, I would be fine with approving this, that ADA bathroom at the same time.
Thank you, Tim. Roy? Oh, I think you're on mute, Roy, maybe?
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
There you go. There you go.
I also agree, Mr. Chairman. I will make note that for me, it was come down. We spent a bit of time talking about the pool and understanding the pool, making sure that the runoff wasn't going to exacerbate, because the pool in elevation was rising. But it turned out that the pool is actually an infinity pool that comes up, and all that water will be recycled back in through these trenches around. So there will be no further runoff into the Lake Montauk, which was important for me. Also, what was important for me is what was not on this application, and that is the demolition of the dock house that happened prior to that, which I think is also a very environmental benefit that is part of this whole application. I think it's well thought out. I think that they've increased or made better the existing environmental impacts on Lake Montauk. So therefore, I vote to approve it as well. I also agree with the reduction of the bathrooms, the ADA bathrooms. That it is an improvement from what was noticed.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Yeah, I agree once again with you all. You know, it's a complex project. Ed's analysis was excellent. I think that with the construction protocol, all of the analysis that we all gave this at the public hearing, I do have faith that this is going to be done properly, and I agree with Roy about it's great to have that dock house all removed there. As well, the ADA, I'm fine with letting that, the bathroom, I'm fine myself as well, letting that go forward and be a part of this approval. So thank you all, and thank you, Ed, for your work on this. Nancy Lynn.
I have a question. In the sequence of construction activity, I forgot to bring this up. There were 2 inspections listed in that sequence of 22 steps. I'm assuming that the town of East Hampton could inspect at any time more frequently that they want. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can.
2 inspections seems like it may not be adequate for this kind of project.
Right. I believe that there are built-in, and I don't know construction as well as many of you do, but my understanding is that there are different points that inspections have to be performed in order to be able to go to the next step.
Roy, you want to comment? Anything on that? You want to comment on, Roy?
That's absolutely true.
Yep. Okay, go ahead, Ed. Go ahead, Ed, please.
I just want to say for the record that I would also be in favor of approving the ADA bathroom. My concern was simply the manner in which it was removed and then replaced without discussion. And I want to see the reaction of my fellow board members.
Thank you, Ed, and I apologize for not getting back to you on that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for all your work on this application. Nancy Lynn, we good then on this?
Yep, I have what I need. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, next we'll move on to, we have our final post-hearing decision this evening is regarding Donna Leonard at 93 Girard Drive in Springs, tax map number 300-41-2-7.1. And the lot size here is 18,514 square feet at that same address. The description here is to construct 1,121 square feet of first and second story additions, 847 square feet of first and second story decking, 161 square feet of swimming pool with pool equipment, a 200 square foot shed, gravel driveway, and an upgraded sanitary system on a parcel of land containing and within jurisdiction of wetlands. The relief sought here is a NRSP pursuant to 255-4-20 of the East Hampton Town Code was required for this application. This is a B residence zone. The flood zone is X, and the secret class is type 2. And this is in Vice Chair Roy Delene's district. Roy, if you would start us off, please.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. So this property is located at 93 Girard Drive. Couple of things to note about the existing conditions on this property is that it is a bulkheaded property. The house is located landward of the Seaside line. It is also set back from the neighboring properties as well, as you can, as we saw on the aerial. The applicant is coming before us for additions to the house. The original application also included the pool, and I want to say that the applicant during the hearing came before us and has eliminated the need for a pool. The house also existing contains a very well maintained buffer, which was also of note during the application, the hearing. The project itself does meet all required dimensional setbacks. This is an NRSP only. And although it's going to increase the residence to about 2,800 square feet. There was discussion about the septic system. The applicant stated that There is a new IA system, and I think there was clarification that although in this case, the addition would probably kick the IA into a requirement for this project, that it wouldn't be considered mitigation. However, it is an improvement on the environmental condition of the residents. There will be 4 bedrooms when the house is complete. I'm in favor of approving this application. I think it's still a modest application. Most of it is landward of the existing residence and does not really impact. There are no dimensional variants sought out for on this application. The applicant post-hearing did submit a revegetation plan. And that is, what's the date of that? I'm not sure. There's a date on that, but there is a revegetation plan.
Yeah, I think we got it January 11th.
That's correct, January 11th. With that, for the most part, the revegetation will be revegetating where the existing site was disturbed by construction. So I think it's a reasonable request. I think it's modest. I think the removal of the pool has improved this application drastically. Therefore, I would support the application.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Tim, you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, and I'm in agreement. This is an NRSP. It meets all the dimensional setback requirements. And so what we're really concerned here about is the environment. And I think given the extensive amount of vegetation that already exists, that extends toward Gardiner's Bay from this house, combined with the addition of the new septic system, is mitigation for the proposed improvements, which again do fit our dimensional setbacks. I think Member Daleen, Vice Chair Daleen, I beg your pardon, indicated that the reveg plan basically was going to revegetate all areas that would be disturbed. So I think this applicant has been a good steward. It is a large parcel. It's 0.42 of an acre, which I think qualifies as one of the larger parcels down on Girard Drive. And so for all those reasons, I'm also, I believe that it meets our NRSP standards.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Terry?
Okay. Yeah, I too am in favor of the application overall, but not with as much enthusiasm. I do think that it is a rather large additions and upgrades. The current house is 1,121 square feet, and they're going up to 2,800. I don't consider that modest. The reason I will move forward, because I do think the environmental aspect of it for the NRSP will improve. Again, the septic system, and the septic system is going into a better location, farther away than the current septic system. They're not replacing it in that same location. And the revegetation, the additional revegetation, right now it's 2,220 square feet of proposed revegetation. So I too will approve this. I don't know if we could stipulate no further increases in this property, but
I do too think it does max out. It's a property. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, but basically that's just it. The revegetation, in addition to the fact that, as other members said, the current scenic easement has remained undisturbed, which is good to see.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Ed?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with my fellow board members and the vice chair. I think that the observation that critical to me here, the observation that they've removed the pool from this application, that the pool is really problematic for me, and given the location of where it is and the amount of coverage on the lot. I think I agree with Member Berger that it's not a modest addition, it's a sizable addition. We're changing it to a much greater extent than I would have possibly wanted to have seen there. But I do think we've improved it environmentally with the re-veg, and the upgrade of the septic system, of course, is critical. And I remember Brenneman's observation that it is a larger parcel compared to others in that area. I don't think it will overpower or put it out of character with its neighbors. I think that given the proposal, it's probably was as well thought out for a house that size as we might have hoped for in this particular case. And although I have some observations about the size of the project, I am looking to approve it as currently proposed.
Thank you, Ed. Yes, I agree with with what you all have said. So again, I won't repeat it. Except for I agree. It is going to be an improvement. It seems that they've been good stewards of the buffer. What is existing there, the house is set back, and there are no variances, and the re-veg. So I too am looking towards approving this application. Thank you all. Nancy Lynn, we good with that?
Yep, I have what I need. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on now. We have, pardon me, building permits, certificates of occupancies. We have Joseph. I'm going to note with regard to Joseph and Courtney DeSena, we have this 2 times on the application here. One is an extension of time and one has to do with the building permit. So we'll just combine these. I've checked with Nancy Lynn and that's fine, as she tells me. So we have here then, I'll read these in. We have Joseph and Courtney DeSena at 137 Edgemere Street in Montauk, tax map number 300-28-4-2. And for with regard to a building permit, and as well, we have the same applicants, the same location for an extension of time. This is in Montauk. Terry or Lenny, I'm sorry, Lenny, if you would please, thank you. You're sitting.
I'm covering for Brian for this one. So I'm sharing the aerial here. I believe he also sent a memo around about it. They're looking for the extension of time and building permit. Apparently on the site visit, there is the sediment control is currently in disrepair, and it does not meet the standards. There also appears to be no project limiting fence, the 4-foot fence. The determination also required the removal of the deck, which was landward of the bluff crest. And this is the 2020 aerial. And on the site visit, it had not been done. And also the revised survey, I don't believe has been received. There's many things on this that have not yet been received that were required prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Right. Thank you, Elena. I'll just make note, board members, as we move along here, that Brian has noted that he's been in touch with the applicants and they are already in the process of taking care of these things. So it was discussed that, as we've done in the past, when people are being proactive about this sort of thing, we do not approve it for a building permit authorization. Yet we could send out the form letter to them, and then if we do not hear back in 2 weeks, we would put this back on the agenda. Yet if we do hear back and they would continue working with the planning department, we could this evening give them. Is this correct, Nancy? Then we could give the extension of time without the authorization for the building permit and send out.
No.
Is that not correct?
Yeah, that we're holding off on giving them the extension of time until they. My understanding.
Come back. Okay.
Lenny but I believe from our meeting today, Brian was suggesting that we give them a couple weeks to have all of their plan to get into compliance. And
Right.
if they show that they do so within the next couple weeks, then we can have it back on at that point for the extension of time.
Right. Okay.
I have
Okay.
some comments about this. I visited
Go
the
ahead.
site today, and when I visited the site, the big pile of dirt that Brian had in the photos,
Yeah.
they had moved it to some degree, and the 9x19 deck that was still located landward was taken down and was laying in a rubble on the side of the property, and they were in the process of adding the silt fencing. So in this case, it looks like the applicant is working with the planning, and they're already in progress to get those things corrected per the determination that existed on
Right.
A, B, and C. So,
Good. Thank you,
now,
Terry.
I also noted that there was a building permit posted. So,
That's kind of strange.
yeah, I know. And it wasn't there the other day when I just.
Oh, because they're looking. Let's see, Lenny, do you have that there?
Permit until these other things were done, but there was a permit posted.
It might be part of the extension of time is to renew that.
No,
permit?
they
No.
had well, I
A
mean,
demolition permit, probably.
they were asking for the building permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a permit posted. I don't know what it was for, but
It
there
might
was.
have been a
Yeah,
demolition
and it wasn't
permit.
there the other day because it was kind of a bright pink.
Oh, bright pink. That might be.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. If it's
Rory,
demolition,
is that a demolition permit? I've never seen a bright pink one.
Yeah, they're yellow in the town.
the yellow.
Yeah.
Maybe it was yellow. Maybe my colors were off. But anyway, but they are well on the way to trying to bring this into compliance. So
Okay, thanks, Terry. Do you all agree with that strategy, board members?
we still have to wait for the extension of time, though. Then.
Well,
I believe,
it's
I
up to
believe that-
you if you
I
want
believe
to.
that, I believe that might be a demo permit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
The only reason I would grant the extension of time is if they need it to keep this thing going, and if they are working with us, I would be okay
Yeah,
myself granting the extension, but not the building permit authorization.
right. No,
Which are
I
two separate
kind
things
of
they
agree with
need.
that. I think that since they were working on it and
Yeah.
have made some progress toward it.
That's certainly the board's choice. You can approve the extension of time, you can approve the building permit, you can approve one or the other. Or you can ask them to show a little bit more progress before you're willing to approve either of them, but it is
Yeah.
totally up to the board.
Okay, thank you. And Eleni, thank you, Nancy. Eleni, do you know when the extension is, the dates there by any chance? And I know you're pinch hitting for Brian, but do you happen to have the file there when it?
I have that the determination was filed September 21st, 2017. So this would, let's see.
Probably runs out in 3 years or.
Yeah, it's 3
Yeah.
years is the first one.
Yeah.
So it's
It might
September.
have expired already.
Yeah,
If that's the case, again, just my opinion is I'm okay with the extension of time, but not the building permit. You all want to comment, board members?
I feel that way too, certainly.
I would
Not
agree.
until they're done on the building permit.
Okay, that's three of us. Ed and
Yeah.
Jim?
I feel given the observations that Member Berger saw today and that the fact that they're making a good faith effort to comply with the recommendations, I'm in favor of agreeing with you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ed. Tim?
Yeah, I would be honest here and say that my instinct is to wait until the applicant showed a little bit more progress on this, but I would, I'm clearly outvoted on this, so I will go along with the board's wisdom on this.
Well, I don't know about wisdom, but thanks, Tim. One thing I will note is I would still like to see that letter go out with regard to the building permit so that
Yes.
they're on notice and we want to hear back in 2 weeks. And I feel that's, if I was assuming, if that goes out, that's compelling them to move forward. Because if they don't, well, they're not going to get their building permit.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that helps.
I think a letter would be useful too,
Mhm.
so they don't forget.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. We'll move on next with other decisions. We have Kevin McDermott at 3 Merrill's Road in Amagansett. Tax map number 300-84-3-18. And the determination needs to be made regarding the sanitary information requested in the 10/28/2020 incomplete letter and response received from the applicant 2/10/2021. And let's see, Eleni, are you pinch hitting for Michael here?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eleni.
See, I brought up the survey. Just okay. So yeah, it appears that so this is an application that Mike currently has. He has asked for the sanitary system to be shown on the survey, and the applicants are asking if the board would waive that requirement. Mainly, we want to see the sanitary system just because we want to make sure that the board doesn't approve something that might be over the current sanitary system. It's something that we commonly ask for in pretty much almost every application. So it's something that's up to the board whether they're comfortable waiving that request, but the planning department would really like to see it.
What's their reason for wanting to waive it?
I believe what Mike brought up at the pre-meeting was that they don't know where it is. They would have to pay someone to. The original structure pre-exists zoning, so they're not. They don't have. I don't think they have the documentation as to the how it was built, and would require that they actually hire somebody to do that.
Right, and I would add to that, as we all know, Lori Wiltshire sent a letter in requesting that this be waived. And this being in my Amagansett district, I'll comment and say that, as Nancy Lynn said, we discussed this with Michael at our afternoon planning meeting, and there's no record. This goes back to 1953, as we all read in the affidavit that was submitted. There's no survey, there's no building permit for this, obviously. There's probably, back then the septic system was probably not, it was probably just a leaching pool. It's like a cesspool. That's probably there somewhere. However, I feel strongly that we should not waive. This is a condition. I feel we should not waive it. We should find out where things are. You never know if it's under a deck or if it's under something that we're approving, this proposed porch. So I strongly feel that we should find out where this is. As we all know, it can be toned out at not a great cost. And then it would have to be located on the survey. And maybe when they find out what is there, they might feel compelled to try to upgrade it for the sake of the environment, but that's another issue. Board members, comments, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'm in agreement with you that I would not want to waive this. I think that it's simple enough to find these systems. I think there's more than one method to do that,
Yeah.
as you pointed out, and I think that it would be slightly irresponsible of us to allow them to move forward not knowing what's buried in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on this one.
Then these systems, I agree, it's probably an old brick system even.
Yeah.
These systems, it's a very old system. These systems have a tendency to break down over time. I think it's important to have this documented.
Thank you, Roy. Terry, Tim?
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well.
Okay, there we have it. Thank you all. Okay, we'll move on now. Next, we have Deborah Kopinski at 30 Devon Road in Amagansett, tax map number 300-174-4-11, and this is a rehearing request. Eleni, do you have anything to bring up on this on the screen for us to refresh our memories here? Or
Yes, I do. So I
and
have
again, pardon me. Go ahead, Eleni.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have the approved survey, but I also have their proposal as well. So this is rotated here. I'm sorry. So this is the approved survey. This and then I have the proposal as well.
Thank you. So we all probably recall this one. I did the site visit here. I recall it very well. And you'll note, Eleni, maybe you can just point out the existing deck with the pool equipment, and they plan to move it under the deck. If you would point those out, would be great.
This the proposed survey. Yeah, so this they were approved for this swimming pool. Actually, I'll show you the
Showing
approved
it,
survey.
Lenny? I'm sorry, I don't see it on my screen. What happened here?
Is it?
Yeah, it's on my screen. Maybe you minimize something, Terry, or
I
something.
didn't touch anything. It minimized itself, I guess. Hang on.
Yeah.
Well, continue. Let's see.
Okay, well, let's see. I think we should, can you see anything, Terry, or not? You don't see the survey?
I'm trying to find my,
Well, Lenny, while she does that, maybe you can move
Yeah.
forward nonetheless.
I'll
And
continue. I'll listen.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the approved survey from 2019. They had proposed their pool equipment to be right here, and this is the approved pool and deck and clearing lines. And so it's actually a very small change. This is the proposed survey, and they're proposing to move the pool equipment here, and they're just leaving that as deck. This portion.
Okay, thank you, Eleni. I would like to make a motion. Well, I can, if you all want to comment. I'm fine with the rehearing of this. Any additional comments, board members, before I make a motion? If you're not fine with it,
No, I'm fine with it. In fact, I remember this property because of the rather dramatic fall off
Yeah,
from where the pool is to the what I don't know if this is south or
Yeah.
what our orientation is here, but
yeah, it is south.
to the south.
Yeah.
That really drops off. So
Yeah.
it's important that we get this right.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Any other comments, board members?
Nope.
No?
I'm okay
Okay.
with the rehearing
Yeah.
also.
Okay, thanks. I'll make a motion then with regard to Deborah Kapinski at 30 Devon Road in Amagansett to approve a rehearing request.
Second?
Concur?
I'll concur.
Okay, thank you all. Thanks, Eleni. Okay, next we'll do some extensions of time we have here. First is Gregory Zorko at 11 Shore Drive, west in Amagansett. Tax map number 300-108-2-6. And this was Brian's, I think, Eleni, are you sitting in pinch handy for Brian on this too? Thank you. Brian owes you a latte or something like that. You all may recall this, I'll let Eleni go over it, but I believe this had to do with, as you recall, to raise it to meet FEMA. But go ahead, Eleni, please.
Sure. So yeah, this is an extension of time. It appears that the shed, it was an extension of time for pyramid variances to raise the elevation of the residence from 6 feet to 12 feet above sea level, and to relocate a shed on a parcel of land containing tidal wetlands, dune land, and beach vegetation. So at this time, it appears that the shed has been relocated and some other things have been removed, but that nothing else has been done. Brian has reviewed this and he's visited the site, and he has said that the planning department feels comfortable with this at this time.
Thank you, Eleni. Any comments, board members?
No, I agree.
I have Brian's memo. I agree.
Yeah, I'll agree with Brian's memo as well.
Same here.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, I will make a motion with regard to Gregory Zorko at 11 Shore Drive West in Amagansett, 300-108-2-6, that the extension of time be granted.
Second?
Concur.
I concur.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to Capio at 59 Seaside Avenue in Montauk, tax map number 300-32-4-24. And Eleni is pinch hitting on this as well. Thank you, Eleni, if you would, please.
Sure. So this application, they were granted variances in 2015, 2 variances to construct a 783 square foot additions 1,580 square foot of first and second story terraces, and alterations to the roof line and pyramid restrictions. And there's wetlands on the property. Nothing has been done on the property as of yet. There has not been any construction. And Brian reviewed it and visited the property, and he feels comfortable with the extension.
Okay, thank you, Eleni. Terry or Ed, you want to?
Oh, just,
Sure.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Brian's memo, as long as he stated that the environmental conditions appear to be comparable to that time. I guess I'm okay with the extension of time. It's about five years, going on 5 years, going on 6. But I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. I'll agree with that, particularly the extended period of time, since it's an original issuance that there hasn't been the environmental damage done. I'm okay with the extension.
Thank you, Ed. Tim and Roy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Same here, good.
Okay, Terry, you want to make a motion on this one?
So for Capio Natural Resource Special Permit Extension of time at 59 Seaside Avenue, Montauk, tax map 300-032-04-24. The determination originally filed in 4/15 of 15. I make a motion to approve the extension of time.
I'll second it.
I concur.
And I concur as well. Thank you. Thank you, Terry and Eleni, for your work this evening on these. That brings us up to our minutes. Approval for the draft minutes of March 2nd, 2021. I've taken a look at these. They looked in order to me. Do I have a motion to approve the draft minutes of March 2nd, 2021?
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the March 2nd minutes of the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second,
I'll concur.
Okay, and I concur as well. Thanks, Terry. Thank you, Kyle, for your work on that. Okay, that brings us, council, before we go into executive session, I don't believe we have anything else. Is that correct on your end, council? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Muted.
did we,
Oh, good. Yeah.
That's all we have before exec session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Who is speaking? Go ahead.
did we remove the Joseph and Courtney DeSena?
We did that earlier. We did that combined with.
I got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
Got it.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you, Eleni, and thank you all who are listening. We are going to go into executive session, and that will end the meeting. We will not be coming back on the air. Having said that, I will make a motion at, I believe it's 7:53 p.m. to go into executive session.
Second.
I'll
Concur.
concur.
And to end the work session of the.
And to,
Well, the work session continues, but the
Yeah.
televised part of it, yes.
Thank you. Concur.
okay, thank you all. And Mike at LTV, you take it over.